Hey, what's going on guys? Acer John here, and today we're going to be going over the This Week at Bungie for June 3rd, 2021. But before we jump into the TWAB, I ask if you want to keep up to date on all Destiny 2 news, information, links, tutorials, and more, that you go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, let's jump into it. So, kicking things off here with reminders, there isn't really much here because, well, nothing's really happened this week. However, if you have not done the weekly Splicer quest, I highly recommend doing that because there is a really cool cutscene that actually got leaked, I think, during the second week, but now it is officially available within this quest. In my opinion, it's one of the top 5 cutscenes Bungie has ever released, but yeah, go check that out if you haven't already. But next up in the line of reminders, Iron Banner is returning next week at reset on Tuesday, that being June 8th, and will end on Tuesday, June 15th. And actually, with the update that just came out today, the brand new Iron Banner machine gun and shotgun should be farmable from Lord Saladin as well as end of game matches. So if you're looking for a good shotgun or a good LMG, you can now farm that starting with the next Iron Banner. Next up in TWAB, we got an upcoming fashion contest coming up, which if you enter and end up winning, you'll be awarded this emblem that is on screen now, which I have to say looks pretty decent. And with it being a newer emblem, it'll be extremely rare if you do end up winning. In order to enter this contest, you have to snag a photo of your Guardian in the Guardian appearance screen showing your armor set and shader selections. However, providing an additional picture of your Guardian in the wild is not required but may get you some bonus points. In order to actually submit the picture, they want you to submit it on either Twitter or Instagram with the Splicer Fashion Show hashtag. They go on to state that they'll be sharing winners from June 7th through June 12th on the Destiny the Game Twitter. Next up, we got a report from the player support team. First up, in regards to enemies being sort of teleporty since the launch of Beyond Light, they go on to state that on June 1st, aka this past Tuesday, that they've made some changes to the servers to reduce teleporting enemies in activities. Next up, in regards to PC performance, they acknowledge that it's been super sucky since Beyond Light. However, in regards to the Intel and Nvidia side of things, they state that it's back to Beyond Light, which as a Intel and Nvidia owner, I can confirm that it's been up to pre-Beyond Light standards. However, they acknowledge that there's still issues with stuff like AMD, and that because of the whole pandemic thingy and them being out of the office, it's made it harder to optimize PC performance because they don't have access to the proper stuff, but they are trying their hardest. Next up, in regards to the hotfix today, well, that went live with the stasis balancing, which I can tell you has made Crucible a not as shitty experience, which is the +1. But also in this hotfix, there is a bunch of fixes, and also there is a fix for about every Atheon cheese that existed. So for anyone who did Atheon cheese, F to you, you're gonna have to actually do it for real this time. And lastly here from the player support team, we have a list of known issues, which if you're interested in reading, TWAB will be linked in the description down below. With that being said, that brings us to the movies and the artist of the week. Again, if you're interested in any of that, TWAB is linked in the description down below. However, that's not exactly the end of the TWAB. We have one little spicy image that they dropped for us, which I'll be putting on screen now, which is a piece of Witch Queen concept art. And as you can see right there, that is a hunter with the brand new planetary armor for the brand new planet that we're going to be getting in Witch Queen, which was revealed a couple months ago, which is cool, but that's not really important. We've already seen that. However, what we haven't seen is where the hunter is at. As you can see in the background, it's very swamp looking, and there's some rusted cars in the bottom left. And if you're someone who has kept up with leaks and the lore, you would know that this area is actually Old Chicago, which is very important because that pretty much confirms our main destination for the Witch Queen expansion, which, like I said before, is Old Chicago. And since they have basically confirmed that, now the story theory crafting can go wild. But before we close out this news video, I just have a couple little random things that I picked up from the Destiny Community Podcast Live, which is hosted by some big community members like Fallout Plays and Cool Guy and such. And on on this podcast recently, they actually had an interview with two people from the Sandbox team at Bungie, and some of the biggest takeaways I was able to pull away from this, I think, 2.5, maybe 3 hour live stream, which by the way, if you want to see the full thing, it'll be linked in the description down below, is that first up, they're thinking of nerfs for Top Tree Dawnblade because they feel like it is way too potent. Next up, in regards to hand cannons, scout rifles, and LMGs, they're all being looked into for PvE buffs, respectively. And lastly, with the Vex Mythic class, they're looking to buff that because they feel like they under-delivered it. And in regards to the whole quick swapping glitch thingy with double slug shotguns, they're looking into nerfing that in some way because they feel like it voids the quick draw nerf to PvP, as well as it's not very accessible to everyone. Their words, not mine, by the way. In case you were wondering, there is no real official timeline given for this stuff. They just stated in the near future, which possibly means hopefully before Witch Queen. This should all be addressed, but you never know. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for news today. I'm unsure of content within the next couple of weeks or so. There isn't really much to talk about at the moment, but I'd say just follow my Twitter, linked in the description down below, if you want to keep up to date on what kind of content I'm working on or just what I'm doing in general. But yeah, if you found this video helpful, go ahead and give a like. If you want to keep up to date on this kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe. I make these TWAB videos pretty much every Thursday, or at least I try to, as long as there's enough news to talk about. And I'll see ya in the next one. Peace.